since coming into our lives, has volunteered to stop working, and she takes care of my parents. So I just want to start that off with that. So thank you very much, Dave. I want to thank my Chavana aunts and uncles. My daddy was a singleton, was the only child, and they adopted him as a brother. And he loved y'all so much. So to the entire Chavana family, to the Partida family, to all my Seguin family, and New Braunfels family, thank y'all for showing up tonight. To Peter and Lupana Chapa, for the last 12 years, I've had breakfast with them every Saturday morning with my parents. He's my daddy's brother. He is my daddy's brother. And I know it takes a lot for Mr. Chapa to come to funerals. He doesn't really enjoy it, not that anybody does, but for most of his life he didn't. But he's here today, and I want to thank you so much, Mr. Chapa, for being such a good brother to my father and loving him so much. He would come visit him all the time. So what do you talk about a man who influenced 58 years of your life? Because everybody can hear his voice, right? So I summed it up in life lessons, because it all adds up over time. Life lesson number 1. You control your own destiny. Don't take the easy way out. As my brother said, he was raised by his grandmother. She worked, so he was left unsupervised most of the time. Yet he still took the right path. He learned during that time what he didn't have and promised himself to be better, that it was going to be better for his family when he got home. Life lesson number 2 is faith. We were at church weekly. Like it or not, we were at CCD. Like it or not. When my youngest daughter, Jennifer, was born in Maryland, he came to see us in the summer, and he was there for a week. And at the end of the week, he told us he was diagnosed with cancer and needed to have surgery. But he was going to wait because Our Lady of Guadalupe, Jamaica, was coming, and he had the MC that day. I had to walk out of the house. Remember, I was so mad at him for delaying. I was like, get that cancer out of here. He's like, no, the doctor said it can wait. So his faith is life lesson number 2. Life lesson number 3, don't steal. So, where's my cousin Gumi? He's over there. Hey, the chapstick caper. We were little. I was probably 4 or 5 years old at Kaiser Groceries at the corner of 6th and Ferguson. And for some reason, we decided to steal some chapstick. Don't ask. Not candy, not chips, no more chapstick. So we're at my grandmother's on 6th and Vernon. They backdoored each other, and I'm putting on my chapstick. And my tia, Lola Dolores, asked me innocently, "What are you doing?" "I didn't steal it." Busted myself. So that night, I got a whooping, boy, for stealing. But before I got that whooping, Junior, was what he was called back then. "Junior, get in here. Sit down here." This is what happened when an Ariola steals. We don't raid no thieves in this house. And he took my arm, and his big old gorilla hand wrapped around my little arm and just commenced to wail. And he whooped me with his bare hand. So from that point forward, I don't remember, the old folks in here remember the commercials with Susie Chapstick, that blonde girl, she would go in the commercials. Every time I seen Susie Chapstick, I had PTSD. My lips would just be chapped. They're chapped right now. I'm not putting it on. It brings back bad memories. That's life lesson number 3, don't steal. Life lesson number 4, bragging. Like my brother said, you don't brag on yourself. So I was on the Rattlers in Pee Wee League at the corner of Davis and Lake Drive, and we killed somebody. I think the Coyotes. And I started bragging. Life lesson. He grabbed my arm, and man, it hurt. He goes, "Boy, if you're good, people will tell you you're good. Otherwise, you keep your damn mouth shut." I went, "Yes, sir." So that taught me to make sure the team is successful and they'll recognize you with your efforts. So that's where that life lesson came from. Life lesson number 5, like my brother said, don't embarrass the Ariola name. Do not embarrass the Ariola name. Well, pendejo here. Worked at Rudy McKeskus. And we came home, me and Tommy Salazar came home, and we got home late, and they were very trusting, so we go inside, we drop off all our stuff, and we grab a 12-pack of beer, but we leave money. We didn't steal it, we left money. I'm not gonna steal again. And we walked out, and it just wasn't going smooth. So we decided to give it away to who? My cousin Gumi. And we were at Goody's parking lot about to hand it over, and Officer Rittmeyer shows up with his flashlight. What y'all boys doing? Nothing. And he had, can I have permission to look in the back of your car? And I should have said no, but I said yes. And he looks, and there's that 12-pack. And they said, whose beer is that? And man, I had so many fingers pointing at me. So they took me to the old city hall, and I got the call. Because you want to call your daddy to come get you? No, I don't want to. That's who I got a call. So I called, but luckily he had unplugged the phone in the bedroom, and it was ringing, and there was no caller ID. So he had to walk all the way to the hall, and he didn't get there in time. So then I had to call my Uncle Arthur, Old Faithful. So he shows up, and I can't say what he said, but he said, you messed up pretty bad, boy. I'm like, thanks, Dio. Breaking news. Yes, I know that. So he said, well, your Tia's on the way to wake up your parents, so they know. So I get home, and he's hot. And he meets me right at the front door. And he's got his hand on the, if you walk into my mom's little courtyard, there's that little 4x4, and he's right there in front of the hallway. And he's looking at me with this look of disgust. And as I'm walking by to turn to go to the hallway, he just looks at me. Way to go, son. And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna sit down. But that night, I was a freshman, I think, and I only got a lecture. So, yeah, there was no more of that business going on. So don't embarrass the Ariola name. Life lesson 6. He taught us how to be a husband and a father, and how that was the utmost of importance, just period, right? That was, everything he did was because of the family and because of his faith, his entire life. And it was just, was my daddy perfect? Absolutely not, but he set the example for us, and I don't know how he did it. Life lesson number 7 is just a Christian couple. Mom, I don't know how. I run into so many young couples, and they say, man, your mom and dad set the bar. And yep, they do. That's a tough lesson to follow, because I mean, you're challenged every day, right? The devil's always teasing you with something. And I just want to thank my mom and dad for setting that example. And then life lesson 8 is just an inspiration to always want to do better. I hear my dad all the time. I'd ask myself all the time, what would my daddy do? For 58 years, I've asked myself that. And his inspiration was his mother. He didn't know his daddy, but he knew of his mother and his mother's family. So every Mother's Day, he was always just a little bit sad because he couldn't go put flowers on her grave because we lost her location of her grave. But he was raised by his grandmother and his 2 aunts. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but his great aunt, Josie, she was still living in North Carolina. When I go to North Carolina, I would stop by and see the family. And she was in a nursing home, but she was bedridden. Well, my daddy died on the 21st, pronounced dead at 9:08. And just a few short hours later, his 99-year-old aunt passed away. And there's no doubt if we'd have heard that without my daddy passing, we'd have been sad. But us boys, we were happy because we know that my daddy, before he went to heaven, stopped off in North Carolina and said, Tia, vamos, let's go see my mama. So my daddy always had my back. So don't be sad for me and Marie, because it's our 10-year anniversary and we have to be here and we're not out enjoying a steak meal, because Pendejo here messed that up several months ago. As the mayor of Taylor, it's very hard to coordinate my mayor calendar, my family calendar, and my work calendar. So I had a meeting scheduled for this evening with a special meeting with the city council and the planning and zoning, and Marie found out. Yeah. All those life lessons I just told y'all, I could hear my dad. He never mentioned it. I don't even know if I ever told him how stupid that was. But I could feel his arm. I could feel his hand on my arm. And I could hear him say, way to go, son. So the meeting got canceled for other reasons, and we're here tonight to remember my dad's life lessons to us all. Those are, don't be a pendejo. Put your faith, your family, and your friends first. So, to Ernest Ariola Sr., thank y'all for being here. I have no idea. I can't imagine how somebody with no father figure, grew up to be what an amazing man he was. Because we had an amazing man, and I can hear that. I don't know what he heard, or maybe he heard his grandma or his aunts, but you could still be challenged to go do the wrong thing. And 99% of the time, he did the right thing. So I'm gonna miss my father. We had him for 84 years. I had him for 58. And I love you, Dad, and I will see you in heaven. Thank you.